Yep.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the No Idea Zone, which is turning out to have a lot more ideas than I thought it would. Um, I thought it would just be a berserk mayhem of crazy comedians insulting each other, but it's turning out to be something much more civilized, and I suppose that's because I am civilized. So today I have an amazing guest. You'll notice this is just a one-on-one interview because this guest is special. This is not somebody I wanted to get lost among a sea of banter and chatter. This is somebody who is not just special in comedy, special in my life, my own personal life, which we'll get into that. But I do want to roll off some of her credits. One of the credits that I just found out about, which is that she co-wrote, was one of the writers on Katt Willams' Live from Cincinnati, Let a Player Play, which was his first comedy special, which is an underground piece of street art almost, which is something he produced and filmed himself. And you can watch the whole thing on YouTube. She co-wrote that, which I just found out. Also, that's pretty fucking impressive. Maybe that should have been maybe I shouldn't lead with it. She also was the co-host of this little-known show in LA, this phenomenon called Cat House Live, which was produced by our mutual, very close friend Ricochet at the Hollywood Park Casino. I think this shot off in 1999. Coreie, am I right?
2000. 2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Rick said 99, but I take your word for it. And she had her own show long before everybody had the technology to make their own show and do their own little boutique shit. Coreie Mosley in the early 2000s, and I know this because 2006, because I was on this show, the mid 2000s, when not everybody had a phone with a camera on it. Okay, when nobody had a phone with a camera on it, she had her own show called Comedy at the Crib, and I was one of the guests on that show. And we formed.
I had a lot of heavy hitters. I had some heavy hitters on my show in my living room. Tell the name of it. What was the name of it?
Comedy at the Crib.
With who?
Stephen
Coreie Mosley.
But that is a testimony. I will just say I'm honored that you wanted me on that show because I didn't have any credits.
Of course.
I didn't have any credits. And just the fact that you thought I was funny and you brought me onto your show should have been a precursor, a foreshadowing to not only who you are as a person, but that you recognize me, and that meant a lot to me. So, so we're gonna get into.
You know what?
Yeah.
But Lolli, you were so clever and you were so funny, and the fact that you did not have, you were fearless, and you would come and do black rooms when a lot of comedians like that wasn't black. You had black comedians that was afraid to do real black comedian, black shows. So the fact that your guts and you were clever and you was a little cute also. So of course I had to have you at my show. You brought diversity. My show was diversity. I had females, I had different races, I had different backgrounds. And what led me to do that was the fact that I didn't like how the comedy clubs was treating comedians. I mean, I remember when I packed the club out. At the end of the night, I got no money. I was hungry, and my friends fed me. There were many nights when we would do shows, and we would be hungry. We would go. Katt and Rick. We used to go to Denny's at the end of the show and go eat and share fries, and because that's how broke we were. And so it's like I wanted to give you guys a great show, a great audience, and not to mention I also fed you guys. So that was kind of passionate because I was like, they don't understand that the comedians make the show. It's like right now the people are realizing with this whole coronavirus that the employees are the ones that are making the money. We're the ones that's going out and putting our lives at risk. But you gotta remember the little people really does matter in this time that we're living in. And that's what was my passion was for that, because I just wanted the comedians to feel love.
Well, you certainly made me feel love, and I want to hear, because Cat House Live. I appreciate, by the way, all of those very loving things you said about me. I think you were meeting me at a time when I was becoming funny, because I thank God that people in LA didn't know me before I got to LA, because I was terrible. I was a terrible stand-up comedian, and I had ambitious hopes and goals, but I was stuck in bullshit places with people who weren't that creative. And when I moved to LA, I met Coreie Mosleys and the Ricochets and and the Derek Ellis's, and I was like, man, I'm with funny people. See, now I'm with funny people. And when you're with funny people, it brings something out of you, I think. So I wanted to ask you first about Comedy at the Crib. If you could give us a little explanation of that, because this is, even when I was doing Mixed Nuts, I was afraid to go down to Hollywood Park Casino. I think Katt was still there then, and people were inviting me down. You got to go down to Hollywood Park Casino. You got to go down to Hollywood Park Casino, and I'm like, I was afraid. I'm not going to lie to you. I was like,
But you know what? What's Lolli? My first show was like for people that were brand new. I put up Sexy Marlowe. When I went out of town, I let Sexy Marlowe host my show. I had a hunger for new comedians like Rick did. He had a hunger for giving people opportunity. So, and the audience was great. They was open because I would go do my job. I'm gonna make them laugh. I'm make them feel. And you gotta remember, we was at Hollywood Park Casino on the main drag where we was entertaining pimps, players, and pushers. They would come and get their laugh on before they went out and took care of their business, which was like good for me, because I was like, when I go auditions, I was like, if I can make those people laugh, I can make anybody laugh, because we talking about the gutter people. So if you would have came, there was no need to fear, because that's what the first show, and Katt wanted that first show to be like that, because also he had a hunger for people as well that wasn't getting stage time. And we know stage time, people can be very stingy when it comes to stage time in LA, how it used to be, and everybody had their clique, So I thank God for Ricochet and Entertainment, because that's where I honed my skills. I just thought I was funny.
He gave you a place. He gave you guys.
He gave me a place to work every Tuesday night. Never missed a day. Always on time.
So for those of you at home who are white or who are new to comedy, Cat House Live was the launching pad. It was the playground that allowed Katt Willams to basically take flight and become a major superstar.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In Hollywood.
Definitely.
And it's very, very similar to what Robin Harris had at the Comedy Act Theater, where Hollywood discovered a black comic who was entertaining people in the hood. And so it's really a piece of like Los Angeles legend.
Well, it is. And you know what's so awesome about that is, like, we had a great spot to work, and I have to tell you, a lot of people didn't want Katt on their show because Katt was so funny, so brilliant. So you had people wouldn't put Katt up because that's how great he was. You know what I'm saying? And then he brought me along, and we would do shows together. I was opening act. We did a television show called Women Are From Mars and Men Are From Venus, the television show. And of course, he brought me in. So after I would do my job and invite people, and they come do their thing, at least I would, I just had a hunger to help people, and like he did. I would go in the audience and sit in the audience and watch Katt's show, because he was so brilliant, and I would just sit in the audience and I knew every material. Katt used to go off the dome. He was off the top of his dome. He didn't write nothing down. It was straight off the dome. And so I knew all his material. When he did Comic View, we were in New Orleans. Remember when he was already famous then? No, he was famous but not famous. That was his getting in. He hadn't done any movies yet. He still was hungry. He hadn't done Fridays and all that, because that's really what shot him up when he did the movie with Ice Cube.
So Comic View, just for clarify, Comic View came before.
Comic View, tell them about the backstory.
No, Comic View came before Friday After Next. That's Well, I
Yes,
just wanted
Comic
to
View
get
became
that,
for
be clear
Friday.
about that. Okay.
That used to be the only before we had. Remember we had HBO with Russell Simmons when he used to do his comedy, and we had BET Comic View. I knew his material, so when he did Comic View, I said, "Katt, we in New Orleans. That joke you have about Micah with the ball, which was his closing number when he did BET." I said, "We have a 99-cent store in LA." I said, in Louisiana, that's where we're taping it. They don't have a 99-cent. So I said, you have to change that joke to a dollar store. So he did. Because you gotta talk to the people, know what's going in their neighborhood. So now because of that, every time a cat go in any city, he does his homework. And the first 10
you
minutes
don't
or
have to
15
tell me
minutes of
because
every day,
when I was there
he
writing
does that.
for him, one of our duties, I think you had left town by the time he went back on tour.
Yeah.
One of our duties was to look in the news for whatever city and throw out jokes based on the local shit that was happening in Denver.
You have to know. That's how you connect. And I was like, you got to change it. And I think, and man, Rick's like, Coreie, he got that from you. Because I went out in the city. He was wherever he was. I went walking in the city seeing what was going on. And I gave him that. And then when he got ready to do, which is Katt Willams' live Let a Player Play, which is the first CD stand-up he ever did, DVD they ever done, Ricochet came over my house one night when I used to live in North Hollywood, where I used to do my comedy at the crib, banging on my door. I'm like, what's going on, Rick? He said, Coreie. He said, Katt needs you. I said, he need me? What's going on? He said, he about to do his special and he needs you. I said, what? He said, he need his material. So me and Rick was in my bar. I used to have my little bar with the table and all that, where I used to, my bar in the kitchen.
Sure.
We sat down together, an envelope. We could find an envelope. And I wrote all his bits, his tags, all on one envelope. Because he used to come, that's how brilliant he was. Katt didn't practice, he didn't write nothing down. He used to just go on stage and be like just brilliant.
Holy
and that's
Spirit,
what I would tell people. I said, you don't understand. This Katt Willams but that old Katt Willams that we grew up on, he didn't have to, we would do clean comedy shows, squeaky clean comedy, because I forgot the guy's name, but we used to do squeaky clean at a church function. Yeah. And you couldn't even say, only way you could say hell is if you use it as a noun, but not as a verb. You couldn't cuss. Katt was always the last one. He was the closer. Didn't cuss, brilliant. If I tell you, he was so brilliant, and I just was like, oh my gosh. So this, it just was. It was some good times back then to just see people, even like with Kevin Hart. I remember Kevin Hart used to do his show, and I sit there and watch him sometime as well too. But it was some good times back then to see these people do their stuff, and now they're famous, they're rich, and it just encourages you, like, hey, we got to keep going, Lolli.
Tiffany Haddish.
We got to keep going.
Yeah.
I don't remember Tiffany Haddish. When I was out there, I don't really remember her, but I remember Lonnie Love. We did shows.
Okay, because Tiffany Haddish was coming up with me. Yeah. So I was more in her, but she was in with the white clubs a little bit. Yeah. So she was in with the Laugh Factory. I think she was in with the Laugh Factory before Katt even became known. She grew up in the summer camp there. She was part of their Jamie's summer camp, But anyway, Okay, so co-hosting Cat House Live. Just give me a little flavor of what it was like on a nightly basis, hanging out. I know Rick has told me stuff, but I think the people out there would probably dig hearing stories like you guys walking through Marina Del Rey and. Oh yeah, well we would go do after shows. We would go. Like I said, go to Denny's and eat our French fries, share French fries, and drink our hot chocolate because he's a coffee guy. Katt loves his coffee. And I gotta tell you, time I almost burnt down the Manhattan Beach property. I almost burnt it down, but that's a good story to probably tell you too. So we would do shows, put our heart and soul, and we would work. We would work right at night, and of course, like most comedians do, what you do after the show. You go and analyze, and you talk about the bits. You say, hey, that was funny, work on this, do this. And we would go to Manhattan Beach, which was my favorite. I'm the one who told Katt about that beach. That was my favorite. I loved that beach. And we would go walk after the show, and we would dream.
and say one day. And so when Katt did get finally his Manhattan Beach and we reconnected, and when me and you went to the beach house in Manhattan, that was like manifestation.
It was Marina Del Rey, not Manhattan Beach.
No, it was Manhattan. Well, it was Marina. It was Marina. That's right. But we used to walk Manhattan. That's what we used to walk. We used to walk Manhattan Beach, and that's what he was like. One day I'm gonna have a house. Like I'm gonna be next to you. We gonna do this thing together. We gonna come in, and it was just to see it manifest. It was awesome, you know. And I'm glad that you got an opportunity through me that you met.
Wait. You're getting ahead of the story.
Oh, here. I'm sorry.
First of all,
go ahead.
I wanna explain to the people who are listening to this, who you might be an Eddie Pepitone fan, you might see me on Eddie Pepitone, or you might be in with that group. But this is where I came up through. This is where I got funny, and there were probably a half a dozen white comedians, maybe 5, 6. Nemo Williams, Honest John, Roger Rod, me, maybe a couple other people who I didn't know about, but you know who came before. But this was where I came from, and this woman, Coreie Mosley, she led me to my break with Katt Willams. So she is the reason that I was able to make a living in comedy.
Oh, wow.
Okay, she may not know that, you may not know that, but I want to start with something that I had a memory before that, 2003, early 2003. So this is going way back, Coreie.
You're going way back.
This is going way back, yeah. Before Comedy at the Crib or anything. Right. Probably I'd been in LA for 2 years because I came at the beginning of 2002, the end of 2001. So this was like, no, a year and a couple of months. I was pretty much brand new in LA. And you were hosting. I know you won't remember this. You might, but I have a feeling you won't. But for me, it was something that was very important. I got selected to, you were hosting the Haha Cafe in North Hollywood. You were hosting there on a weekly basis, either weekly or bi-weekly. But do you remember hosting a show or hosting at the Haha Cafe?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So it was like, I want to say it had to be March of 2003. And I came in, and I don't think I was booked. I'm pretty sure I was not booked, and I came in and you were hosting, and I said, Coreie, I got selected to go to the Bay Area Black Comedy Competition. And I said, can I go on and do a little time? And you said, I didn't ask for this, you gave this to me. You said, you can go on and do 20. You gave me 20 minutes on stage. It was a Thursday night. I'll never forget it because the competition was on a Saturday night. The next day, I drove to Oakland. And it was a big deal, a big turning point in my career. It was a big turning point in my confidence as a comedian. I went up there and crushed in Oakland because of that 20-minute spot you gave me at the Haha Cafe, because I was so confident, because 2 nights before I had a great set at the Haha Cafe. So before we go into the Katt stuff, I want to remind you of that's a very clear memory in my mind that you did that, and that I'll never forget that. And fast forwarding to, do you remember? You probably don't remember. It wasn't as important for you as it was for me.
Unfortunately, I do not remember, but I did a lot of people like that. I remember Ramona Stevens coming to me and saying, hey, I want to do comedy. I'm like, do it. You don't know you're funny until you get to hit that mic. You could be funny in a barbershop. You could be funny at the family reunion. You could be funny at a funeral, okay? But it's nothing like getting on that microphone on that stage and it's just you by yourself. I remember one night at the Hollywood Park Casino, this guy was trying to heckle me, Lolli. And I was like, you think you're funny? Come on, buddy. What's your name? I gave him a proper introduction. It was hilarious. I gave him a proper introduction. He got I did. What's your name? I'm going to introduce you. I'm going to give you, we used to have music. So we had a DJ. So like Katt used to have, remember the music that Katt used to his show? He had music with rock. DJ Rock.
You had a whole talk show.
remember he had the girls. Katt had the girls. He had the DJ. He had everything before all this ever happened. He was already doing this. So this guy came up. I was like,
okay. So the guy,
give him some music. I gave him introduction. I hyped him up. I forgot what I said, but I'm a host, so I'm gonna give you your time. Crickets. And then what I did was, after that, I was like, y'all see this? I said, the good ones make it look easy. The good ones. You think it's easy because you're in the audience, but you get on that stage, it's just you and a microphone.
You know something, Coreie?
What you gonna do with it?
You know something, Coreie? Like,
yes.
Darwin would really appreciate what you did, because you kept one obnoxious motherfucker from ever becoming a comedian that night.
Yes, yes, I did.
Those obnoxious people are all deciding they can do comedy. By the way, if you are funny at a funeral, you better do stand-up comedy. If I never made anybody laugh at a fucking funeral, okay, and I'm pretty good at this. So.
I had my funeral joke. I had my funeral bit that I used to do. And I got to give you a story about J. Anthony Brown, right? So, and you talking about comedians boosting each other's confidence. So when I first started out, I did a set at the, what is it? You just said it, with Ian over there. What was it?
Comedy Union.
Comedy Union. So J. Anthony Brown seen me there. I was just starting out, I'm just, trying to figure out stuff. I'm still like early writing, I had my funeral.
But it was Mixed Nuts then. It was Mixed Nuts.
Yeah, it was Mixed Nuts. It's when the African guy owned it, right?
The African guy,
and Ian hosts the shows, but I forgot his name, but he owned it.
Benet.
Yeah, Benet. You're right, Benet. And so I did my funeral bit. And so he was like, I got off stage and he was like, that was funny. He said, the funeral bit, that's clever. That's funny. I was like, thank you. I mean, my confidence, like you said, how I gave you the confidence, I helped you. You already had it. It just had to come out, So I thank you for what you saying I did, but it was already in you, Lolli, So he helped me with my confidence, because sometimes, this business is shaky. Confidence come, confidence go, but it's always in you. So that was my confidence. So fast forward, I'm in Houston, right? I live in Houston now, right? I go to the show on this is a show that they're doing this club. I forgot the name of it, right? So guess who's hosting? It's J. Anthony Brown and friends. I go, I'm like, I wonder if J. Anthony gonna remember me, because it's been a long time. And I go up, he gave me love like he just seen me yesterday. We talking about J. Anthony Brown, okay? That's like, all right? So he's like, you want some time? I was like, that's what we say. Comedians, we say you want some time. We don't say you want to go. Well, sometimes we say you want some time. You want to get up, go up, but usually you want some time. So he's like, you want some time? I was like, yeah, I'll go up. I hadn't been on stage in years. But of course, I wasn't going to say no. But he remembered my bit. And he was like, I remembered you because you were funny. You had that funeral bit. And he said, funny is funny. We talking about years. J. Anthony Brown.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And that was my confidence.
That's amazing.
That was my confidence.
That's amazing, man. So
and I'm here in Houston. I'm a regular person now. I'm doing regular stuff. I'm on the job.
You're a civilian.
You know what I'm saying?
You're a civilian.
Yeah, I'm a civilian. And then recently I ran into Steve Harvey's former manager, Rashawn McDonald, at the turkey leg hut, because I was driving, I was delivering food, because that's family, right? So I'm working at family restaurant and stuff, and so I see Rashawn McDonald, Steve Harvey's former manager. He remembered. He's like, man, you still got that smile, and I was like, wow. When those kind of people remember you, you like, wow. I'm in their head. I'm in their dome. That's just like, that's important. That's like. Wow. You gonna say wow. After all these years, he was like so happy to see me. And he was just like, man, you still got that same old smile. I never knew my smile had affected me that way. It made me feel so good, like, oh wow. I was like, oh wow. So when you have those oh wow moments from other comedians and people that's in the business, trust me, it makes a difference. It makes a difference. It does.
So that's going to lead me to my next story, which Coreie and I will tell together, which is The night that first of all, I was living in a camper in Culver City. I had bought a camper.
Yes, you were.
I had
Yes,
got
you were.
fired from a job, and basically I had saved the unemployment money. This is 2005. I had saved the unemployment money, and I bought a camper with that money, and I had a good little, for a 28-year-old, however old I was living like a 28-year-old artist. I was living like you'd see an artist in a movie living. I had a camper.
Yeah, you were living like a person that would have been great at the movie. Remember Malibu? With Pamela Anderson Lee and all those people?
Yeah.
You would have been great because you were living like that. But it was clean and it didn't stink. And I came
clean.
in your yeah.
You came
in
my camper and we hung out and we started talking about Katt. And you had said to me that, this is from my memory, this is like 14 years ago now, or 13 years ago. So I may not get every detail right, but feel free to correct me if there's something I miss. So
go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. So you had said you were like telling me about Katt, and I didn't know you knew. By the way, I didn't know you had that relationship with Katt. I didn't know anything about that. You shared all that with me in the camper. And we were getting ready, you and I were getting ready to go to the family room in Gardena, Compton, to do Bobby's show or Ramona's show, or whoever was hosting that night at the family room. I think it was Ramona. And you had told me about all this stuff with Katt. And I said, Katt is, you came pretty early. We were together, like it was still light out. So we had plenty of time before the family room. And I said, I didn't know you knew Katt like that. And Coreie, if you're tight with him like that, you should go up to his fucking house and knock on the door. And you should say, hey, I want to open up for you. Because you were talking about working with him again, and that he hadn't been in touch with you, or something like that. He'd been busy and you hadn't heard from him. Coreie, I just lost you. I just lost you, my friend. Oh, there you are. You're back.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, cool.
So I said, Coreie, he's shooting a movie like 5 blocks from here. Because DeMilitant had called me, and God is a character. DeMilitant had called me and was bragging about how he was writing for Katt Willams. And they're right up the street, and I think they were shooting American Hustle. I think they were shooting one of those things, excerpts from American Hustle. And
No. I think that's when they were shooting First Sunday in the church scene. When Katt, it was in the church, and when Tracy Morgan, and because I remember it was Tracy Morgan and Ice Cube when they did. I got an Ice Cube story too that nobody knows about.
Were they all there? Did you see them in the trailer with him?
No, I didn't see them train, but they was on the set. Ice Cube was on the set because he had done Friday the Next. So Katt was in First Sundays. That's when
First Sunday. Okay, it was First Sunday. It may have well been.
It was First Sunday. I remember it was First Sunday because I remember the church, going to the church. I remember hanging out at the set. So it was actually First Sunday.
Okay, yeah. So you come to the camper, and I said, Coreie, you know what? By the way, I was nervous when I said this. I don't know if you said it to me or I said it to you. You said, would you go over there with me? And I said yes. But when I said yes, I was nervous. I was nervous to meet Katt because I admired him. He was a hero. Oh, he was a hero. When meeting George Carlin or Richard Pryor, to me, he was one of the greatest comedians I'd ever seen.
Oh, wow.
And I was a fan. I was a fan of the guy. And so I did go over there with you. I remember, I don't think you had a car. We drove my, that was the whole purpose. We drove my, my Corolla over there. And I'll never forget this, by the way, how weird this is. It's a movie set, so there's star wagons everywhere, all along the side of it was like a huge strip.
It was a set. That's how they used to shoot movies in LA. You see sets everywhere.
But it's on location. Right. It's on location in public. It's not on a studio set. For those of you who are out there who don't know what all this shit happens, when they shoot on location in a neighborhood, they got security. Well, guess what? When you and I walked in, we walked right into the set. There was no security. Nobody stopped us. We went straight through these Star Wagons, and and God, I'm telling you, it is God. It is God. We're walking through the Star Wagons in the middle, and as we're walking out the door of one of the wagons comes Katt Willams right down to us. Coreie, please tell me you remember this.
I remember I remember doing all that, but you got to tell the story. What happened after that?
Okay, wait, I will get to what happened after that. You and Katt went into the trailer for a while, for like 5 minutes, and then he came out and he invited me in. And then he said, do you guys want to come to Marina? Follow us. We're going to Marina, to the house.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is from my point of view. You can tell it from your point of view, too. I'm sure you have a different side. But
no, your point of view is correct because we did follow him. Yeah.
But he had so to explain this and illustrate this properly, he had an entourage of cars, like 7 cars, 7 like $80,000 cars, and my Corolla at the very back.
And me and you in it.
No, you were in the car with him. You were in the car with him. I was in the Corolla alone at the end, and I'm going.
So I dissed you. Like, okay,
wait. They're driving like in circles from Culver City to Marina. They're driving in fucking circles and like making U-turns at red lights and shit. And I get left at a red light because I'm 7 cars back. I get left at a red light and I lose touch with them. And I don't think I didn't have a cell phone with me. I don't know. Or your cell phone was off or something. Anyway, I got left. I didn't know where the fuck they were going. I had no way to communicate. So I just said, fuck it. I went to the family room to do my show. I got on stage, and on stage I said, you'll never believe. No, I didn't say that. I said, I don't think I was having a great set, okay, to be fair. I wasn't having a great set.
But you know what? You were good at bumming. When you bum, you will joke your bumming. That's how brilliant you are.
Oh.
When you get bummed and you joke the bumming, you get them back. Any laugh is good. I tell anybody, if you're bumming, joke the bumming. As long as you're making them laugh, it doesn't matter how you do it.
On this particular night, I said, hey, I met Katt Willams tonight. And do you know that entire crowd booed me because they didn't believe me?
Really?
They didn't believe me at all. They're like, you suck. Katt Willams would never be meeting you. They booed me. So I get off stage. They didn't boo me off, but they weren't warm and like, you know what I mean? They weren't receiving that in a believable way. So I got off stage. And Lance, may he rest in peace, Lance came out and he said, Steve, Coreie Mosley's on the phone. Landline, Coreie Mosley's on the phone. I'm like, what? Oh, shit, I hope she's okay. I thought you might be stranded somewhere or who the fuck knows, because I was your ride. That night. So I get on the phone and you got on and go, where the fuck are you? Katt's really pissed off. He thinks you just left us. And I go, Coreie, and then I got pissed off. I go, Coreie, I did everything I could to follow that fucking entourage. I got left at a red light. That motherfucker left me. And I got angry, and you go, okay, wait a minute. And you put Katt on the phone, and I hear this very quiet voice, where are you exactly? Where are you at? And I said, I'm at the family room. And he goes, okay, well, do you know how to get back to the west side? And he gave me directions, and he gave me the phone number, and he said, call me. And very foggy night, and I drove all the way from the family room to Marina del Rey, which I don't even think I'd really been to Marina del Rey over by where that was. So it was a weird and eerie, foggy drive. And I called him a couple times on the number, and he basically walked me through, and I ended up, and he was outside waiting for me, by the way. He was outside waiting for me, And I came in, and he was very, I was kind of pissed off because I thought you guys had left me. And I got there, and he was very polite. And anyway, he goes, "I'll just need 15 minutes with Coreie. I just need 15 minutes, just 15 minutes for Coreie and I." And I go up and I go, 15 minutes, it's no big deal. It's like, let's have like 10:30 at night. It's like 11 o'clock at night. 15 minutes is no big deal. So I'm up there with Coco, his assistant.
Yeah, Coco. I remember Coco.
Right. So now let's fast forward to like about 2 hours and 45 minutes have gone by. Because nobody can tell you, if you don't know Katt, when Katt says 15 minutes, it could mean 8 to 10 hours.
Exactly. He doesn't have a watch.
No, he doesn't have and he doesn't have an internal clock. So
exactly.
So 2.5 hours later, I started saying passive aggressive belligerent things to Coco, because sometimes when you say the wrong shit, people will ask you to leave. I wanted to go home. I was tired.
I didn't know all this was going on with you, Lolli.
Yeah. And I thought maybe Coreie and I could get the fuck out of here. So, or maybe I can just get the fuck out of here. Either way, whatever will work. So then Katt comes up, because little do I know he's got cameras and recording devices everywhere. He's probably listening in on whatever I'm saying. Who knows? Maybe not. He comes up and he goes, he shakes my hand and he says, "I'll just need another about half an hour with Coreie, and we're just catching up downstairs." And he hands me, in his hand is $500. $500 cash. And that $500 completely fixed my life.
Oh, I'm glad.
And I was happy to fucking stay there all night. Now, I don't know what your memory of this evening is, because it was like one of the turning points in my career. But I remember you guys coming up later with Lena, and it was us, you and me and Lena. Coco disappeared. It was you and me and Lena. We were all in the kitchen, and Katt, and we were talking and having a good time. And I hit it off with him. He became my friend, and he said, "You can come and live here. We have facilities. All my friends write. All my friends get paid to write." I don't know if you remember all that, or if some of that is my.
My experience with Marina was like, it was a lot of people there. It was like, where all these people came from, because, I was at the beginning stages of Katt's career. It was just me, Ricochet, Katt, Micah. I used to keep Micah when he would go on the road, his son. When Micah was like maybe 7 or 8. It was just us, and he had the twins, the baby dolls, the girls, and all that. Katt was doing this way before his even stand-up special. And then and then I forgot the other guy, his security. Katt had security then, okay? He was living his dream in his moment before it even happened. It's like he was already living it. He was already Katt Willams the Great. And so I remember that night being like kind of overwhelmed, and I was just like, who are all these people? Where did all these people come from? Because we had somehow we disconnected. We lost touch. And I just remember me, Katt, and Rick, and Micah. You know what I'm saying? And we were all dreaming together. You know what I'm saying? So when I came in that environment, seeing all these people, I was like, who are these people? And then and it was just like, it was kind of overwhelming, because I just remember just a lot of people in this place, constant, like 24 hours. You know,
once we got to the beach house there.
Yeah, at the beach house, it wasn't a lot of. It's like every floor, it was like people there. It was like people.
It was insane. It was insane.
It was just too much going on, and so I just remembered. And I remember Katt. He put some money in my pocket, also, of course. Mm-hmm. And so I got a story recently, maybe about 2016. I reconnected with Katt again. And of course, I'm working a regular job, and he's like getting on me. He's like, he came to Houston, right? And he did a show in Houston. And I spent, wait a minute. First of all, as a comedian, it's hard.
Please tell me you got you some tickets to the show.
No. I called him. I spent $100 on his show because I'm okay. I haven't talked to him in years. It's hard. You got to remember, Katt changed his number. Like, how celebrities do.
I know.
That number, so Rick gave me his phone number. It was a different number that he had got from Uncle Jimmy. You remember Uncle Jimmy?
Sure, of course.
Uncle Jimmy had gave him, Uncle Jim was like, hey, Katt, he said, Uncle Jimmy, Rick, I called Rick. He called Uncle Jimmy, said, Uncle Jimmy, Coreie got a show. What's Katt's phone number? Of course, he gave me the phone number because he remembered me, right? The number I called, I kept calling. Hey, Katt, you in my town? What's you in my city? What's going on, right? I didn't get a response. So I paid the money because I wanted to see what was going on with him. I was like, I hadn't seen him in years. I wanted to see this person live that I grew with, that I seen when he was in his early stages and had blew up pretty much. And I just wanted to see him live. And so what ended up happening was I'm trying to get back. I'm like, hey, I used to work with Katt. They wouldn't even hear me. They was like, yeah, whatever. Some guy was his road man. Like you felt like when you got booed. I'm telling them my story about who I was. They was like, yeah, whatever.
We've heard it before. Before.
Exactly. Make a long story short, he ended up calling me out the blue. I'm working as a leasing agent, hating it, of course. And he's like, and that's when he won the Emmy for Crocodile, the alligator. Remember he did the Atlanta, the show. Remember, he won an Emmy for that. And so I called him. I was like, hey, I just want to tell you congratulations on the same number that I had. I was like, congratulations on your Emmy win. And so he ended up calling me. I'm like, whoa. He's like, and you know that voice. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, Katt he don't go in a conversation. He always quiet first.
Okay, wait. I'll get a call from a number I don't recognize. And I'll think it's a what is it? A telemarketer, because you can't hear anything for the first 10 seconds. He won't. Yeah,
it's quiet.
He won't say.
You know how Katt is. It's quiet. He's quiet, and he's like, Coreie Mosley. I was like, Katt, and we started talking. He was like, what are you doing? I was like, I felt kind of embarrassed to tell him what I was doing because I knew he would get on my you know what. He was like. And he was like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, yeah. He's like, what? I'm a leasing agent. I'm getting paid $16 an hour. He got in my ass. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, Katt, I got to live. And he's like, I'm in Atlanta. You need to come here. And I was like, I got hooked up on a flight. I didn't want him to pay no money or whatever because at this point, he's around a bunch of people that's just relying on him solely for money. And
he was when we got there, believe it or not.
I was like, Katt, I can pay my own way. I can come there. I literally, within 2 hours, called my girl, hey, book me a flight to go to ATL. I didn't take a bag. I didn't take nothing. I flew to Atlanta. My girl picked me up. We met at this place. Him and Lena, his entourage, of course. Lena's still hanging in there. We ended up going to his house, okay? So we hanging out and everything, and it's a total different vibe.
How so?
It's just a total different vibe. It's a total different Katt.
In a good way or not so good way?
It was different. I'm not gonna say good or bad. It was just different. And so it was like and the people around him, they was like just ugh. And so, make a long story short, I ended up leaving the next day because it just the vibe, the energy, and just so for the young comedians, when you do make it, if the people around you are very important. You have to have you got to keep good people around you because some people are leeches, and I could say the people that started out with you is the people you should end with. Because I genuinely love Katt. And me and Rick talk all the time. Like when I moved back to LA, guess who I'm going to stay with? I'm saying Ricochet. Me and my cat, I have a cat named Denver, which, most black people don't have cats, but I have a cat, And he's like, well, you and your cat can come too, So I was like, okay, but I'm after this whole coronavirus, I'm coming back home, I'm a creative being. I need to be around creative people, and so it was just a different energy. And that was the last time I seen Katt. Mm. And I don't want to go into detail because, it was different. It was really different.
Well, you and I you have had a instrumental part in my life in introducing me and God. I really believe it's God. That was a major God blessing to me through you and through Katt. I mean, I was connected with somebody who was like me.
But you know
And
what's
we were a lot alike.
You know what's so crazy is comedians didn't really help each other like that. You know, I remember one night when I was at the Ha Ha Cafe. Remember when Kim and Buddy Lewis had their show at the Ha Ha Cafe?
That's a little bit before I got to LA.
Okay, I got a story. Guess who was
Buddy
the
Lewis, by the way, started comedy at the Ha Ha Cafe. It was a fucking overpriced nacho place before he got there.
And you know what? And that's another thing. He didn't treat comedians right. We would sell out his shows at night, and that's probably one of the reasons why I did do comedy at home, right? And so comedy at the crib with Coreie Mosley, because they just didn't treat comedians right. Guess who was in the audience that night in the audience?
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie freaking Murphy. I was like, I didn't know he was in the audience. I was like, Kim, can I get some stage time? Can I get some time? She's like, yeah, pass out these flyers for me, and I'll give you some stage time. So I'm going giving, I'm working. I'm like, okay, but I got to get some, I will pass these flyers out. It's Eddie Murphy and it's Nicole Murphy. They're in the audience. So I come and try to give Eddie Murphy the flyer. He looked at me like, what are you talking about? So Nicole, being a cool chick, she's like, I'll take it from you, baby. But that night, did I get up? She did not put me on stage. And one thing I know about Eddie Murphy, he always tell you, he loved funny girls. He'll tell you, I love funny women. Eddie, he said, I love to see funny women. That night, if I would have went on stage while Eddie Murphy was an audience, I would have, because Lolli, one thing about my comedic ability, I'm a writer first. Even though I haven't been working, I still write. I'm a writer. I'm a writer first. Then I'm a comedian, and then I'm an actress. I'm a writer. I have to pick up a pen and write. That's like singing. If you're a singer, you're going to sing washing dishes. You're going to sing whatever. I'm a writer at heart. That night, and I was denied the opportunity to share my gift, who knows? I never told comedians no. When they want to do stage time, that
was what was special about appearing, suddenly being part of this in the marina office. When I started hanging out with you guys, you and Rick, and I didn't know I knew Rick knew Katt, but I didn't know he was Katt's best friend. I didn't know you knew Katt before that. I didn't know Willis Turner was Katt's buddy. I had known DeMilitant, knew him, but these were all my friends too, and so suddenly the people who were outsiders had a very powerful click. The outsiders suddenly had a very powerful click. The people who nobody helped had a chance to help everybody. And that's what Katt said to me. He said, I'm going to give you the help that nobody ever gave me.
And that's true, because I told you, people did not like putting Katt on stage because he was so freaking funny. It's like Bernie Mac. Nobody wanted to follow Bernie. Nobody wanted to follow Katt. We did a show in Scientologist, the church, right? And you had to be clean doing that, right? And so I opened and he did the show, and you had to be clean, and it was amazing. One of the best shows I could ever remember in LA. And so with that being said, it's like I couldn't get no love for other people because I'm pretty, I got face, I got hair. Comedians most time, it's men, and Me Too movement is for real in comedy. You know what I'm saying? It's Me Too movement. I say not me. You know what I'm saying? But Me Too movement. So Katt showed me so much love. He's like, I want you to open that. Rick didn't know who I was. So Rick had Katt, and then Katt brought me in. And I would do the pre-show. And we used to have pre-shows. And we both had a hunger to get people stage time because we know how it was when you want to get on stage and people hating on you. And Ricochet gave us both that opportunity. Every Tuesday, I'm performing. I'm on time. I'm doing my homework. I'm running current events. I'm telling black people what's going on because they don't watch the news. They don't watch the news. They don't read the paper. But I learned that from Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory was one of my friends too. When I first met Dick Gregory, I went to his hotel room in the Ritz-Carlton. He had every newspaper, every magazine from all over the world in his bedroom. As a comedian, you have to do the work. You have to have homework. If you want to be a well-rounded comedian, you have to know what's going on in the world, not just in your neighborhood, not just in your house, but in the world. And that taught me. That just made me even say I'm on the right track, because I was a news information junkie. And when I was a kid, when they used to come through and sell encyclopedias to families, before we had Google, we had encyclopedias, kids. Okay, they don't know that.
I was an encyclopedia kid.
I had and I begged my mama to get those encyclopedias, not knowing that I love information. And said, I love information. And I would get information. I would go on, and I would tell them weekly what's going on, first of all, on a Tuesday night. Let them know what's going on, current events. But not to mention, you never know who you're going to be around. And I remember I was temping somewhere with an attorney. And this attorney, I'm a receptionist, I'm temping, and we had the water cooler, like I said, water cooler conversation. We started talking about current events. I knew everything. And I bet he was like, who is this person? But not knowing that I'm a comedian on the side. You know what I'm saying? And you have to do, if you want to be great, you have to do your homework, and you have to write a lot.
Are you still in touch with Dick Gregory?
Dick passed. You know, Dick passed. Dick
passed.
I
didn't know that.
You know that? Dick passed probably almost 3 years ago. But the last time he came to Houston, he did the improv show. He did the improv Houston. And I had tickets, and I couldn't find nobody to go with me to see Dick Gregory perform. It was unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Steve, I'm calling you government name. I'm calling you Steve now because it's for real. I couldn't find nobody to want to go see Dick Gregory. We're talking about one of the greatest comedians. You know, Dick Gregory gave Bill Cosby his break. Did you know that, right?
I didn't know that.
Bill Cosby, you know, Dick Gregory chose to go participate in civil rights. You know, He was like,
he didn't want any part of show business anymore.
No. His hunger for what was going on with his people, that led him to go there. So who was next in line? Bill Cosby. That's how Bill Cosby got his break, because Dick chose to go and be on the front line with the civil rights movement. But Bill Cosby, he got this break. Because back then, you know how to say, you could only be 1-2 black comedians and really be famous.
Right.
But Dick was the man. He was the first one to do
Ed Sullivan?
Not Sullivan. He did Sullivan too, but he did oh my God, with the Mansion, Playhouse. You know, I can't think of his name. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. The white man.
The Tonight Show.
Not the Tonight Show. One of his breaks was with I can't remember.
Oh, Coreie.
The old white man that rode a road. He had the mansion.
That did what?
The old white man that had the mansion. He had the women around him. You don't remember? I forgot you.
This is before my time. You're talking about Hugh Hefner's jazz.
Hugh Hefner had a nice show that would come on.
This is like a fucking game of Pictionary.
Yeah, Hugh Hefner. Comedian.
The old man with the robe.
Yeah, Hugh Hefner. The old man with the robe.
The old man with the robe.
The old man with the robe.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one who does that.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know now, yeah.
Yeah, Dick was hot.
On his jazz TV. Right.
He was just starting. And so that's how Bill Cosby. So it's like all this, I have history. It's like all this history of knowing people, being behind the scenes. And it was like, I have stories. It's like amazing. Like you said, God. You kept saying God.
It's God.
The places that God has put me in. Finesse Mitchell. We did a show for Essence, and it's Google. You Google my name, it comes up. We did a show for Essence. It was Clean Comedy Competition 2003. I didn't win. I forgot the girl that won. She won because she talked about being a teacher. And you know, everybody loves teachers. I talked about when I went to jail and I stabbed my husband and I was funny as hell, but they went with the teacher. And the guy told me, said, we wanted you to win, but her material was more mainstream. So what happened was, but out of that, I ended up getting a show with Monique out in Vail, Colorado. Open up the show. That's when rest his soul, Kobe Bryant, on the height of when Kobe Bryant had his issue, right? I went to Colorado and I was funny, and Monique was looking at me like I just did something wrong. I got no love from her. So
yeah, but she's known to be that way.
Yes, but that was my first experience.
Her.
That's my first experience. So I'm thinking, because
you were a pretty woman and she's not.
But the thing is, I always had love for my female comedians. Sexy Marlowe, Lonnie Love, Ross Brown,
Ramona, Retha Jones.
I gave them love. I mean, before the Me Too movement, I was trying to sisters, we got to stick together. You know what I'm saying? Even though Sexy Marlowe behind my back was trying to take my spot. Rick told me later on, hey, she's trying to get your job. I'm like, really? But, it's like that sometimes. So with making
That's
this,
all right. You don't know everybody you're helping, Yeah,
making this long story longer.
Yeah.
My thing is this. I was taught early on, most comedians are very selfish creatures because they don't need nobody but a microphone. Singers need songwriters, they need drummers, they need guitarists. So as comedians, we're just naturally selfish because it's all about us. You know what I'm saying? So with me, I had a heart for hosting. My dream is I always had my own television show. I want to host. I love hosting. And that's why I was so good at it, because I was passionate about it. I loved it so much before they started doing comedy in their living room, like Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy and all that. I was doing it way before anybody thought of it. And they made fun of me. Other comedians.
Who made fun of you? They did not.
Rodney Perry made fun of me he was on the radio. Remember he was doing a radio show on what was the radio show in LA?
Rodney Perry was one of the people bombing at the Hollywood Park Casino.
Rodney Perry made fun of me about they was making fun of me, but they don't understand. The comedian was like, Coreie, can you do this every week? Because I didn't give you 5 minutes. I gave you time.
Yeah.
And I had an audience.
You did.
That were eager.
That were happy to be there.
In a studio apartment. I even had a VIP room with the red rope. My neighbor.
Yes, you did.
I
think you paid us a little gas money to do.
I probably gave you. If none of
you gave me $10 or $15.
I think you needed money. I think I didn't give everybody nothing. I didn't give everybody, but I think I probably slid you something. But I gave them a meal and I gave them stage time because the comedians, they didn't deserve to be treated like that. It's like right now, with the regular people that don't have the $1 million, we don't have the Amazon, the FedEx money and all that. And you're talking about the little people that's trying to keep a roof over their head. You know what I'm saying? That's when you see, little people do matters. The comedian matters. Without a comedy show, without a comedian, you can have a comedy show.
Yeah.
It's just, but the thing is, the comedians they're not together. So, and they'll put anybody on stage. The clubs don't care. Certain clubs, not all clubs, but certain clubs, it don't. Is ha-ha still going on?
Yeah, I hate that we've even mentioned that. I had to mention it because it was part of the story, but I hate to even mention the names of certain clubs of these because I don't want to give them a free shout out on my show, But to the best of my knowledge, it's still there. I want to say this though, because we got to wrap up because we're getting to the end of our time. But I want to kind of wrap up by saying you keyed on something. You've been a part of a tremendous amount of cultural history and comedy history. You've been right beside geniuses and legends, and you've been part of their creative. You've been part of their creative collaboration. You've been behind some of their best work, and I just am so grateful and have so much gratitude that because of you, I've been able to be part of that story. And I'm not saying that I haven't had lean years since I met Katt, but nothing has ever been as hard as it was before I met Katt. And I just really appreciate you, and I love you very much. And I'm really honored you came on my show, this weird experiment of a show, because you said you're a host. I'm not a fucking host. I hate hosting.
I love it.
Thank you for making this. You could be my guest host then. So thank you for making an appearance on my show. And I want you to give us all your social media and all where we can find your website, whatever you got, so people can follow you out there.
Okay, I'm at Coreie Mosley on Twitter, which is CoreieMosley. I'm Coreie Mosley on Facebook. I am Mosley Coreie and Coreie Mosley on Instagram. So it's just me. It's just my name. You know, it's nothing fancy. I am who I am. I'm the one and only Coreie Mosley, spelled CoreieMosley.
And I'm Stephen Lolli, Lolli, just like the sucking candy. That's my real name. Thank you guys for tuning in to hear these stories. And maybe we'll have another second part of Coreie because we have a lot to talk about and catch up with. But you'll be seeing her in LA really soon in all the clubs. So if you're in LA, be on the lookout for Coreie Mosley, my dear friend, my very bright and brilliant comedy companion. And until next time, people.